Music production hardware manufacturer Roland burst into the DJ controller market with a lineup of 3 controllers that pretty much covered every price range. And today, we review their mid-range controller, the DJ-505, which takes some of the DNA of their top-of-the-line DJ-808 while shrinking the price and the form factor. So, let's take a deeper look. At first glance, the Roland DJ-505 pretty much looks like any other mid-range Serato DJ Pro controller currently on the market. But once you take a closer look, you definitely see some differences that separate the DJ-505 from all the other controllers in this price range. And the biggest difference can be seen at the top of the controller, where Roland has included their TRS drum machine. Now the TRS takes their analog modeling technology from their TR8 drum machine and places it within this DJ controller. You have models of such classic drum machines as the TR-808, 909, 707, and 606. And you also get the ability to sequence samples that you can put into the Serato sampler. And the ability to sequence not only this TRS drum machine, but the samples in the Serato sampler is a feature that can only be found currently on Roland hardware. Now on top of that great production performance feature, the DJ-505 also includes the ability to use the DVS feature within Serato DJ Pro. So with the purchase of the Serato DVS expansion pack, you can go ahead and plug in a turntable or a media player and get full timecode control using just the DJ-505. But along with those extras, let's go ahead and break down some of the more standard features of this mid-range Serato DJ Pro controller. And let's start with the deck section. Now the deck section on the DJ-505 looks pretty standard and should be pretty familiar if you've used any of the modern Serato DJ Pro controllers on the market. At the top, you have your effects controls with 3 effects control knobs as well as a beat knob that you can change the beat division of your effects. Below each of those knobs is a control button that can either turn on and off the effect, or in the case of the button right below the beat division knob, you have the ability to select your effects or tap tempo. Now to the right of that, you have your pretty standard pitch fader. And this pitch fader is about the same size as something you would find such as on the Pioneer DJ SR2. It's a kind of a mid-range as far as size is concerned. It's not as small as some of the more budget controllers, but it's not full size by any means as well. Now to the left of those effects controls, you have the ability to assign the effects not only to deck 1 and deck 2, but the ability to assign the Serato DJ effects to the TRS drum machine as well. Now moving down from the effects section, we have the touch capacitive 5-inch jog wheel. Now this jog wheel has a little bit more tension than some of the other controllers on the market, and I do like that. It allows for more control, but if you want to get your scratch on, it's not too tight and you can definitely go ahead and pull off most scratches on this jog wheel. Now to the top left of the jog wheel, we have the slip and vinyl mode control. To the top right, we have the key lock and pitch range function. Now to the bottom left of the jog wheel, we have your shift button to get to all your shift features on the controller. And to the bottom right, you have your deck selection button, where you can switch between deck 1 and 2 to deck 3 and 4. Now below the jog wheel, we have what is now a pretty standard performance pad section. You have 8 touch sensitive performance pads with mode buttons right above it. And on this controller, we have 8 performance modes. We have hot cue, roll, the TRS control, sampler, and then their shift modes, cue loop, slicer, pattern, and velocity. To the left of the performance pads, we have your play pause and temporary cue button, as well as your sync button. And to the right of the performance pads, we have your loop controls. These loop controls are pretty standard when it comes to Serato DJ controllers out there on the market, where you have your manual loop controls, as well as the ability to make auto loops. Now I, for one, prefer having the auto loop functions being on the performance pads, but the ability to have it still at a button's push is still really nice as well. Now moving on to the mixer section, it's still pretty standard as well. At the top, you have your browse and loading controls for searching through your library and loading songs to each deck, but you also get the ability to sort your music via BPM, song title, artist, and key. Now moving down from your library browsing section, we have your normal mixer controls. At the top, you have a trim that's independent of the software trim and gain in the software. Then you have your 3-band full kill EQ, then a low pass, high pass filter right under that. In the middle of those 2-channel EQ controls, we have the ability to control the master output, booth output, as well as headphone output and headphone mix as well. Then below those mixing controls, we have the ability to cue either channel 1, channel 2, or the TRS. Then below that, we have our volume faders, we have our LED meters, and crossfader. And as an open format DJ that loves to scratch, I really like this crossfader. It's pretty smooth, has a nice click and feel to it, And a feature that you don't see on many DJ controllers out there, you have the ability to change the curve of the crossfader as well as reverse the crossfader with controls that can be found directly on the hardware. Now yes, adjusting the curve of the crossfader as well as reversing the crossfader are things that can be done in software, but having hardware controls that you can flip at a moment's notice is so much more comfortable and useful than having to fumble through menus in the middle of a performance. Now moving around to the back of the unit, we have a plethora of input and output options. So let's start with the inputs. You have your microphone input on a 1/4" jack. You have your RCA inputs for each channel that are phonoline switchable that allow for that DVS control we talked about earlier. Then on the output side, you have your master output on XLRs and RCAs, and your booth output on 1/4" jacks. And a feature that you don't find normally on most DJ controllers, we have a MIDI output. So not only can you sequence the TRS drum machine that's built into the DJ-505, but you can also connect other drum machines or other synthesizers. And not only can this DJ controller be the center of a DJ performance, but you can make this part of a larger production performance as well. Now moving around to the front of the unit, we have your microphone volume control. We have your input controls for each channel between PC, phono, or line. Then we have your headphones section that has your headphone volume as well as 2 headphone outputs on 1/4" and 1/8". And that pretty much sums up the hardware on the DJ-505. Now on top of the hardware, you get some pretty cool software expansions as well for Serato DJ. You get Serato Flip, you also get Serato Pitch and Time, and you get the full range of the Serato DJ effects packs. And these expansion packs can really allow for some creativity in your DJ or performance set. So to wrap it up, what do I really think of the Roland DJ-505 controller? Well, overall, it's a really great option for a mid-range Serato DJ Pro controller. You pretty much get all the input and output options you would ever need in a controller in this price range, on top of some features that you can't find anywhere else. Number one being the TRS drum machine. Not only does it give you access to those classic vintage drum machines such as the 909 and 808, but it also allows you to sequence samples that you can place yourself in the Serato sampler. Now there are some slight annoyances that I found with the DJ-505. Number one being the performance pads. They're a little bit small and you can't rapid fire drum on them like you can on some other controllers or DJ mixers out there. It's kind of hard to put into words, but if you get your hands on a 505, you'll find that if you try to rapid fire drum on one of the pads, it kind of slows it down and quantizes it to a certain degree, which can be fine for some people, or most people I should say, but if you're more involved in finger drumming and you need that really quick response, you might want to look elsewhere. And overall, those things don't change my opinion of the DJ-505 being one of the best options on the market as far as mid-range Serato DJ controllers go. So if you're in the market for a mid-range Serato DJ Pro controller, it's really hard to do better than the Roland DJ-505. From its mix of inputs and outputs, to that great TRS drum machine, to its build quality and overall standard layout. If you're in the market to jump up from a budget controller and looking to spend a little bit less than $1,000, the DJ-505 might be the controller that you've been looking for.